Hi. Okay, so I picked all the mullein flowers that I had. My dirty hands, I watered some plants and dug in the dirt today. Because that's what I like to do on my days off. It's good stuff. It's therapeutic. And so mullein is ready to harvest today. And if you can see it, I don't know how close I can get it. These beautiful flowers I just plucked right off that spike, that plant spike. Remember, it's a biennial, so it's the second year that the flowers come in. And when they're ready, now I can continue to harvest flowers from these plants until obviously they're done flowering, and it will probably be a few weeks, a couple weeks, depending. Mullein gets this insect sometimes that leaves this tar on the leaves and on the stem. And so I'm kind of, it will kill the plant eventually. So I'm kind of in a race to get the flowers before that kills the plant. I don't harvest the leaves when it's too inundated with that stuff. Now, if you're not familiar with mullein, then you probably have no idea what I'm talking about, but all plants are susceptible to insects and pests, okay? So mullein, and you might see it gets tacky and tar-like all through, like near the stem and at the base of the leaves. The flowers don't seem to be affected, so, if they look good, then harvest them. And that's a general rule for any plant. If it looks good, harvest it. A few holes and insect bites are fine, because if the insects like it, right, and they're eating it, it's probably good. But if there's a lot of just, gunk on there and the leaves don't look healthy, if there's a blight, with the polka dots on it, you can tell when a leaf is healthy or not. So I just suggest, look at the leaf and see how healthy it is, or the flower or whatever that you're trying to harvest. But these bugs tend not to affect the flowers. So, so I went ahead and harvested as much as I can. Now this is a half pint. This is like a pint, like 2 cups here. And what I did is I loosely filled the jar so I can still shake it around a little bit. And you can see how it's full up to the top. And I didn't know, flowers tend not to have a whole bunch of water, but in general, if you're doing fresh plant oil infusions, you want to wilt the leaves, because if you don't wilt the leaves, you will get mold. But the flowers don't seem to be as susceptible to mold because they don't have as much water as leaves do. So I feel pretty confident when I make flower infusions that I just put the flowers right in the jar. And what I'll do is I have some olive oil in the house, and I'm going to gently fill this jar with olive oil. And what I do is I kind of tilt it and pour the oil in so it kind of comes up from the bottom, and it will fill all the way to the top, all the way to the top. So you have no headspace. And then you cap it. Sometimes people put wax paper or muslin, mullein leaf maybe. No, muslin over the top and then cap it. Because what happens is when we do infusions of oil like this, which is a sun infusion, during the day it gets really hot, the oil expands and can leak out. So that muslin will catch some of that. I tend not to really do that. It's a good practice, but I don't really feel like it's necessary, just in my experience. Perfectly fine to do that. And cap it and put it in a sunny spot in your garden for 30 days. And then when you're done, you strain out the plant material and you reserve the oil. Now this oil is going to be used for ear infections. And I tend to mix this with different plants to help with ear infections. So you might see some of these natural ear oils on the market. There's usually garlic in there. I like to put St. John's wort oil in there, and I will show you what that's all about once St. John's wort is in bloom. It's not in bloom yet, next month, July. And so I love to use the flowers for St. John's wort and make the oil and add it with mullein, because St. John's wort is called an anodyne, and that helps with pain. So topically with pain. And even though your ear is internal, it's actually just really topically. It's a topical pain reliever in there. So garlic, mullein, and St. John's wort, and you get rid of the pain, you get rid of the infection, and you don't have to do antibiotics. Antibiotics are not really indicated for ear infections. And so if your child gets ear infections a lot, then I suggest you use this ear oil, even preventatively. And I've done that before with my kids, and it really works. It helps to, so you use the oil, 5 drops. You know, you want to make sure it's not super cold, so you can gently warm it to room temperature, test it on your wrist like you do a baby bottle, you know. 5 drops in the ear and let it soak in, and then you're going to let it drain out. And what that does is it pulls out all the infection and any wax that's in there. It works really well. I've done it many times with my kids. So again, just to reiterate, mullein flower, you're going to tilt it, gently fill it with oil to the top, cap it, label it, make sure you know what's in here. So you would put mullein flower and extra virgin olive oil or whatever carrier oil you want to use. Grapeseed oil is fine. I like olive oil. And then stick it in a sunny location for 30 days. This is different than the other video I talked about making dried plant material infusions. I could dry these and make oil, but like I said in the video before, I tend to like to make mostly dried plant material oils, but there are a few that I do fresh. And mullein flowers, St. John's wort flowers, chamomile flowers. Flowers, I feel really confident in doing that. But a lot of times when you use the leaves, because there's so much water, you can get mold, and then you go through all that process, and then it smells like dirty feet. And if it smells like dirty feet, you don't want to use it, so you chuck it. But I'm pretty confident about the flowers and using those. So that's mullein infused oil, and this is kind of how you do it. So good luck in your endeavors.